Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the Week 17 NFL slate on Draftkings and Yahoo. We're going to do a quick run through of each position for this Week 17 slate, quarterback through tight end. I'm going to try and keep this video around 15 to 20 minutes long. I don't want to keep you guys up, for too much of your time. I'm recording this video on Saturday night, so we do have a good amount of information already for this slate. This is definitely, the last week of the regular season is always a week where you'll have a lot of teams rest their starters. The Chiefs are going to be resting their starters. The Steelers are going to be resting their starters. I think there's some other teams that don't have really anything to play for that might be resting some players. So, if you're paying attention to the news and stuff, if you're, checking the news on Sunday morning, you can definitely have an edge on this slate because there will be people that will roster guys that aren't playing. Like Patrick Mahomes is not going to play on Sunday, but he doesn't have the red O next to his name, so people will probably still click Mahomes and they'll probably still roster him. There's going to be some dead money on this Week 17 slate. This is definitely one of my favorite slates of the year. Week 1 and Week 17 and the playoff slates I like as well. I will be making videos for the playoff slates. I didn't get a video up last week, but I do plan on making videos, rest of the season up until the Super Bowl. I'll still be making NBA videos as well, so the grind starts now, getting a ton of content out. Do appreciate you guys' support on, all the NFL videos, all the NBA videos. If you do enjoy these videos, hit the like button down below. Hit the subscribe button as well. Click that notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You'll never miss out on any of my new videos. And if you do enjoy my videos, if they help you out a lot, you want to get more content from me, you want to see more that I do have to offer, you can check out my Patreon link down below in the description. I do have a lot of NFL and NBA content available on Patreon. I will have my final NFL core plays posted on Patreon on Sunday morning. I give core plays daily for NBA as well over on Patreon, and I do rankings. I do a player pool. I do a position-by-position breakdown article. That is posted Monday through Friday for NBA. So all that stuff's available on Patreon, plus our Discord chat. You can check that out, link down below in the description if that is something that does interest you. But yeah, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at quarterback. So for me, at the top here, Lamar Jackson is the guy that I like the most on this slate. I think he's going to be the quarterback I try and pay up for. He's $8K on DraftKings, and he's $34 on Yahoo. He's definitely underpriced on Yahoo. Like, he should be up there with Aaron Rodgers, as the most expensive quarterback. The fact that he's $34 makes Lamar Jackson a clear play for me on Yahoo. He's my favorite quarterback on the board. This is definitely a situation where we want to play Lamar Jackson because I believe the Ravens, they're one of the teams that, it's win and they're in the playoffs pretty much. As long as they win this game, they will be in the playoffs. They're going to be all out. They're going to be trying to win this game. They're going to just, their starters are going to play full run unless it's like a blowout or something and they're up by 4 or 5 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Then, yeah, maybe Lamar will rest in, which could happen against this terrible Bengals team. But I'm expecting a full game from Lamar against this Bengals team, a terrible defense. I love Lamar here. I mean, hard not to like him, even at $8K, which is an expensive price. It's the Week 17. There's so many guys resting that we have a lot of value. We have plenty of value to pay up at quarterback, to pay up for some of these studs. So I'm trying to jam in Lamar. He's looked like his old self recently. He's been running a lot more. He gives you that, 30-point upside, can easily be the highest scoring quarterback on the slate. So Lamar's my favorite guy at the top. I don't mind Deshaun Watson either. I know the Texans don't have anything to play for, but they really haven't had anything to play for like the last 3 or 4 weeks. I'm assuming Watson's going to play a normal game. He's going to play a full game. So he's interesting at 7,700. Right now, the Tennessee-Houston game actually does have the highest implied total on the slate. So that should be a shootout. Makes for a good game script as well. I believe Houston, even at home, they are pretty big dogs in this game. So I have interest in Deshaun Watson as well. Aaron Rodgers, I do like. Green Bay, I believe, will be all out for this game. I think as long as they win, they have the number 1 seed. I can't exactly remember, but Aaron Rodgers, he wants to win MVP. This is definitely, a big game for him. I'm expecting him to play a full game. I do like Aaron Rodgers at 7,400. I think he's, one of the safer spend-up options as well. Really, if you're just spending up at quarterback, you want to make sure that you know your guys are going to be playing a full game. You don't want to play a guy that maybe could get rested in the second half or something like that. I'm not expecting that to happen for Lamar Jackson. I'm not expecting that to happen, for Aaron Rodgers either. So I like those guys a lot at the top. Value-wise, not a ton of value that I love. I think Kirk Cousins is definitely in play. Minnesota, they don't have anything to play for. They've officially been eliminated from the playoffs, so I guess Kirk Cousins may be a bit risky, but for now, I am assuming that Kirk Cousins plays a full game. Dalvin Cook has been ruled out for this game, so maybe we could see the Vikings go a little bit pass heavy here without Dalvin Cook. Cousins, he's been good this year. He's shown plenty of upside. He can definitely go out there and throw for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. It's an excellent matchup against the Lions, a terrible defensive team, a team that just can't slow down anyone through the ground, through the air. It hasn't mattered this year. Lions have just had one of the worst defenses overall. So I guess in the mid-range, Kirk Cousins does look pretty good at 6,300. In terms of value plays, not a ton of cheap options really stand out to me at quarterback. Like if Matthew Stafford plays, I think at 5,600, he looks like a solid option at home against the Vikings. I do like that matchup for him. I don't mind him as a cheaper play. But I'm really going to be trying to spend up at quarterback. I think Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson are the two guys I'm most confident in at the top. Deshaun Watson I do like as well at 7,700. But let's go ahead and move on to the running back position. So at running back, Derrick Henry, in my opinion, is the top stud on the slate, and he's the guy that I do want to try and pay up for at running back. I know he's expensive, but again, we have so much value on the slate. I like Henry a ton. 9,400 on DK, $42 on Yahoo. I am expecting Tennessee to be all out for this game as well. I do believe, I know they're already in the playoffs, but I think they can, their seeding can improve if they do win this game. Plus Henry, he's chasing records. I'm pretty sure he needs like a certain amount of yards to get some sort of record. I can't exactly, think of the number on the top of my head. I'm pretty sure it's like a pretty high number. I think he needs like 200-something rushing yards to get like a record or something. But in this matchup, he could damn near do it because Houston's run defense has been terrible this year, one of the worst in the league. It is a great spot for Derrick Henry. A high-scoring game. This game right now has the highest total on the slate. Great game environment in a dome. Like, it's hard not to like Derrick Henry here. The floor on him is still low because if the Titans do get behind, like they did against Green Bay, sure, you could see a scenario where Derrick Henry only scores like, 9, 10 Draftkings points. But in games where they're playing with the lead, which should be the case here, they're just going to feed Derrick Henry the ball 25, 30 times. He just has so much upside. We know, when they get down to the goal line, Derrick Henry is going to be the guy punching it in. So I like him a ton at the top. He's my number one pay-up option on the slate by far. I do feel very confident, that he plays a full game here. We don't have to really worry about him getting rested or anything. But in the 7K range, David Montgomery's been playing really well. I don't think the Bears have anything to play for, but from what I've seen, David Montgomery's going to be a full go here. At home against the Packers' run defense has also been pretty bad this year. I believe Montgomery did have a really big game. Week 12 against the Packers, 28 Draftkings points, had a really big game against them. I think he's a guy you could look to at 7,700. On this slate, I think this is definitely going to be like a stars and scrubs kind of slate. I think you're going to be paying up for like the top guys, Derrick Henry, Devonta Adams, and then you're going to be going cheap with some of the value plays that we'll talk about in a second. Mid-range options, don't really stand out, but I think David Montgomery at 7,700 is a fine mid-range option that you can look to. But scrolling down, I like the matchup for DeAndre Swift. This is a game where Detroit should be playing from behind, and whenever that's the case, DeAndre Swift is like the go-to guy when they're playing from behind. When they have a big lead, they're going to be out there running Adrian Peterson, running Kerryon Johnson, but as they're pass down back in games where they're trailing, you'll see a lot of DeAndre Swift. So at 6,300, he's for sure a guy that you could look to in that 6K range. With Dalvin Cook out, we do have Alexander Mattison at 6,100. I wish he was a little bit cheaper. It's kind of tough to pay 6,100 for Alexander Mattison, especially because we don't exactly know if he's going to get like a workhorse type role. Even when Cook was out earlier this year, like Mattison only got 11 touches that game against Atlanta. He was a big disappointment that week. I don't mind him at 6,100. I just don't think he's going to be like a core option for me. If he was like 5K or 4,500, I think, he would be one of the top plays on the slate. But at 6,100, makes it a little bit risky, especially because we have some, really cheap options down here in the 4K range that look really good. So let's go down to these cheap options. There's a couple guys way down here that stand out. So first off, we'll talk about Malcolm Brown. So Malcolm Brown is at 4,300. Right now, Darrell Henderson is already out, and Cam Akers doesn't seem like he's going to play. I believe he did practice on Friday, but he was practiced in limited fashion. My best guess is that Cam Akers does not play here, so Malcolm Brown should be the feature back for the Rams. He's 4,300. He's incredibly cheap. I'm not really worried about anyone behind him taking touches away from him, like taking touches away from Malcolm Brown, so he should be locked in for 15 to 20 touches. The Rams are going to be running out their backup quarterback. Honestly, I forgot what his name is. I think it's John Walford or something like that. I can't exactly remember. Rams are going to be without Jared Goff, so they're probably going to be even more run-heavy than normal in this game. I believe this is a game where, if they win, they're in the playoffs, so this is they're going to be all out here. I think we're just going to see a ton of opportunity for Malcolm Brown. I expected that if they get down near the goal line, assuming Akers is out, that it'll be Malcolm Brown punching it in. At 4,300, Assuming Akers is out, which seems likely, Malcolm Brown looks like one of the top values at running back, 4,300, just way too cheap in my opinion. I really like him as a cheaper option. And then there's two other guys I want to talk about. So Ty Montgomery looks like a really good value as well. He is 4K on DraftKings. He's minimum salary for a running back. And on Yahoo, he's also minimum salary over there. You got Ty Montgomery coming in at $10 over on Yahoo. So the Saints have had a situation where COVID kind of, infested the team. They had a lot of their running backs test positive or come in close contact. So I believe Alvin Kamara tested positive, and then it was, all the other running backs came in close contact. So basically right now, Ty Montgomery is the only healthy running back on the roster for the Saints. I mean, you just look, they're four running backs, Alvin Kamara, Murray, Washington, Burton, all are on the COVID list and are all going to be out. I'm pretty sure they're going to call somebody up from the practice squad, but as of now, it seems like Ty Montgomery is going to be the number one back for the Saints. Has plenty of upside here. Has always been a guy that, has work. Like, he's a guy that can, get good usage in the passing game. Has always been safe when it comes to pass down work. I'm expecting him to be pretty much an every down back. When they get down to the goal line, I think that makes it a bit risky. I don't think they're just going to turn around and hand it off to Ty Montgomery near the goal line. Like, they could definitely use Taysom Hill some. We could see Taysom Hill run the ball more than he normally would. But at 4K, a minimum salary, running back that's going to get probably 12 to 15 touches, if not more than that has usage in the passing game. A good matchup against the Panthers as well. I do like Ty Montgomery a lot. He looks like one of the top value plays on the slate as well. Him and Malcolm Brown are two great values at the running back position. And then you have, on the other side of that game, you have Rodney Smith also at 4K, who looks like a solid value. So Christian McCaffrey's already been ruled out. Mike Davis has already been ruled out. Both those guys are not going to play. So Rodney Smith is kind of the next man up for the Panthers. I'm expecting him as well to get a pretty heavy workload, probably 12 to 15 touches. I think I feel a little bit better about Ty Montgomery because the matchup's better. I think his usage might be a little bit more secure, but we've seen, the Panthers involve Rodney Smith this year. Even, when Mike Davis was healthy, they were using Rodney Smith a good amount, giving him touches. Now he's going to be their feature back. He's going to be their number one guy. He is also minimum salary, so him, Montgomery, Malcolm Brown, those guys look like really solid values at the running back position. Obviously, Malcolm Brown is dependent on if Cam Akers is out, but right now it does seem like Akers is not going to play. So that's kind of what I'm looking at running back for this week. Definitely a position where you have a lot of good value, but also at the top you got a guy like Derrick Henry, who I definitely do want to try and pay up for as well. Let's go ahead and move on to wide receiver. So at the top of this position, I think Davante Adams is clearly the number one option here. He is expected to play a full game. He is another guy that I believe is chasing records, if I'm not mistaken. I think he needs a certain amount of yards, or I can't exactly remember what he needs, but I think he is chasing records here. Either way, Davante Adams, if we're going to get a full game from him, which is expected to be the case, I mean, he's just been so good this year, man. Like, double-digit targets in basically every game. The guy just has so much freaking upside, man. Like, even at 9,200, I'm fine paying that price for Davante Adams because, we have so much value. It should be relatively easy to get him in. You can definitely play Lamar, Henry, Adams all in one lineup. Like, you can make it work on this slate because there is enough value to do so. Davante Adams for sure my number one receiver on the slate. I do like him a ton on Yahoo. Very easy to get him in over there. Their pricing is so soft. Like, you can easily play Lamar, Henry, and Adams together. I haven't tried to build out lineups yet on DK, but I'm sure there's enough value to make it work to where you could play Adams with Jackson and Henry. Those are for sure like my three stud options on the slate that I do want to try and build around. But other receivers that we could maybe look to, like in this mid-range, without Dalvin Cook, like I said, I think Minnesota might go a little bit more pass-heavy. So Justin Jefferson at 7,600, he's trying to win Rookie of the Year. He wants to put up big numbers in their final game, even though they're not playing for anything. I do like Justin Jefferson at 7,600. Don't mind DK Metcalf either at 7,300. I believe the Seahawks are another team that does have something to play for. I think they can improve their seeding if they win. So I do like DK Metcalf at 7,300. But receiver is kind of another position where we have a lot of good mid-range options. With the quarterback situation with the Rams, with Jared Goff out and Wolford starting, or whoever it is starting, I can't exactly remember his name. Robert Woods would be interesting because Cooper Kupp is out for the Rams. He got put on the COVID list. He's not expected to play. Without Cooper Kupp, I would expect Robert Woods to get plenty of targets, but I just don't know how much the Rams are going to throw here. I expect them to be very pass-heavy. I think they're going to try and, manage the clock, just run the ball as much as they can, which does make Robert Woods a bit risky. But without Cooper Kupp, I think he does get a boost and does become someone you could look to at 6,300. Don't mind Hollywood Brown either. If you want to stack up Hollywood Brown with Lamar Jackson, I think you could for sure look to do that. Hollywood coming in at 5,900. But down here in the 5K range towards the bottom end, there's some guys I do like down here. So if Matthew Stafford plays, I think Marvin Jones at 5,100 looks really good. Like, the targets have just been so secure for him with Kenny Golladay out. I mean, Golladay is going to be out again. I think Golladay hasn't played since he's played basically like 3 games this year. He's been out for a while. So, I mean, you look at the targets for Jones, 12, 8, 12. I know he had 3 targets against Tampa Bay, but Matthew Stafford got hurt in that game. It was a game where they just got absolutely blown out. If this game stays close, we should expect probably double-digit targets from Marvin Jones. Should be a positive game script. Should be a pass-heavy game script for them. It depends on if Matthew Stafford plays, because if Chase Daniels at quarterback or David Blough, whoever it is, I don't want to play Marvin Jones. But if Matthew Stafford's healthy and if he does play, I feel pretty confident in Marvin Jones at 5,100. So I think he looks like a really good option in the 5K range. Really like Mike Williams, though. I do want to talk about Mike Williams. 5K on DK, very cheap on Yahoo as well, coming in at $14 over there. So we already have Keenan Allen ruled out for the Chargers, and Hunter Henry has also been ruled out. Both those guys were out last week. Mike Williams saw a ton of volume last week with Henry and Allen both out. He got 10 targets. Obviously didn't have the best game, just 4 catches for 54 yards, but the volume was there. It's a good matchup here as well against KC. We know KC has nothing to play for, so they're going to be resting a lot of their starters. I think they're going to be resting some guys on the defensive end as well. Mike Williams definitely has a chance to put up a monster game this week. I think Justin Herbert's trying to win. He's trying to win Rookie of the Year. He wants to put up big numbers. I think he's chasing some rookie records as well. So I'm expecting a full game from Herbert, a full game from Mike Williams. I mean, the Chargers, obviously they don't have anything to play for, but, again, they haven't had anything to play for the last 5-6 weeks. So I'm expecting Mike Williams to be full go at 5K without Keenan Allen, without Hunter Henry, facing a Chargers team that's running out their backups. Facing a Chiefs team, that's running out their backups. I do like Mike Williams a lot at 5K. I think he looks like a really solid option in that 5K range. But talking about some of the cheap plays at wide receiver, some of the really cheap values. So we do have some potential cheaper options here below 5K. Laviska Shenault at 4,200, I think, is a guy we can look to. Pretty sure DJ Shark has already been ruled out. I think Keelan Cole is also out as well, but let me just confirm that. Okay, so Keelan Cole's healthy, but DJ Shark is out. We did have a scenario last week where Shark was out, and Laviska did get solid volume. He got 7 targets. He did catch a touchdown late in that game. 5 catches, 48 yards, and a touchdown. Look, we know this Jacksonville team is so bad. They're going to be trailing. They're going to be playing from behind basically every week. They're going to be forced to throw. At 4,700, I think Laviska looks like a pretty solid value. He's going to get probably 7 to 8 targets, if not more. Basically, he's their number 1 receiver right now. He's ahead of Keelan Cole. He's ahead of Chris Conley. So I do like Laviska Shenault at 4,200 as a cheaper option at receiver. Also do like Josh Reynolds. Without Jared Goff, it makes it a bit risky to roster these Rams receivers, but Josh Reynolds is 3,200. Cooper Kupp is out, so Reynolds should basically be an every down receiver this week. I think he's a guy we for sure can look to at 3,200. It's hard to tell what we're going to get from this Rams passing offense. I do expect them to be run heavy, but let's say Walford, drops back 20, 25 times. There's a good chance that Josh Reynolds probably gets like 6 to 8 targets. So at 3,200 in a game that they have to win, I think Josh Reynolds does look like a solid value play at receiver as well. He's very cheap, a good punt option if you're looking to go down, below 4K. But yeah, I think that's probably it. Like Gabriel Davis at 3,600, I think we can look to as well. Cole Beasley has been ruled out, so we could for sure go to Gabriel Davis, coming off a game where he saw 5 targets. With John Brown back, I believe John Brown is expected to play. That does muddy up things a bit, but with no Cole Beasley, we should probably see Gabriel Davis play the slot role. If not, he'll play outside and be like an every down receiver. A good matchup against Miami. Miami, I believe they do have something to play for, if I'm not mistaken, so they'll be playing, their normal starters. But I do like Davis at 3,600, another, solid cheap punt option that you could look to. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to tight end. Tight end's pretty straightforward position for me. If you're paying up, I think George Kittle's probably the guy I like the most at 6K. Obviously not going to be looking at Travis Kelce because he hasn't been ruled out yet, but it seems likely that Travis Kelce will not be playing this week. George Kittle, though, I do like at 6K. First game back from injury, he looked pretty solid. Only 5 targets, but did have 4 catches for 92 yards. I don't think he was like an every down receiver. He was definitely limited on his snaps last week, but for 6K here, that's probably still too cheap of a price tag for George Kittle, even if he's going to be somewhat limited. I like him as a pay-up option. I think if I am paying up at tight end, he looks like the best option to me at 6K. But, this is a position where we have some solid cheap options we can look to. I do like Evan Ingram. 3,700 for Evan Ingram, I think, looks like a really solid play. Against the Cowboys, a bad defense. I'm for sure going to be going to Evan Ingram this week. The volume has been there for him this year. I know he's been very inconsistent, but we've seen the targets be there. 17 targets over their last 2 games. Good matchup against the Cowboys. Pretty good game environment as well. Pretty sure the Giants, I can't remember if they have something to play for or not. I think they do. I think they can still have a chance in the NFC East, but I'm not exactly sure on that. Maybe it's the Eagles and Washington that have a chance, but either way, Ingram should be full go here. I'm not expecting him to play limited snaps. I'm expecting him to be full go. So at 3,700, I really do like him as a cheaper tight end play. Also, I do want to talk about Donald Parham. So he was kind of like the chalk play last week. He didn't have the best game overall. Only 2 catches for 47 yards on 3 targets. But without Keenan Allen, without Hunter Henry, the opportunity should at least be there for Donald Parham. He should probably see 4 to 5 targets. Pretty solid matchup here against KC. This is a guy that showed a lot of upside when he was in the XFL. He did do really well in the XFL. He did play really well when he was there, and now obviously in the NFL, getting the opportunity to basically be an every down tight end without Hunter Henry and without Keenan Allen out there, a big target monster. Should see a few more targets heading his way. I do like Donald Parham as a cheap punt tight end, 2,900. Him, Evan Ingram, I think are probably my 2 favorite guys, below 4K. If we're just talking about really cheap options, but that's kind of it for this Week 17 slate. Just wanted to do a quick run through, guys. Just kind of share my thoughts, how I'm looking to approach this slate. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I do greatly appreciate you watching the video. If you enjoyed, hit that like button down below. Hit the subscribe button as well. Be sure to click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. And if you have not yet, be sure to check out my Patreon content link down below in the description. If you want to see more content from me, if you want to see more that I have to offer, if that is something that does interest you, you can check out the Patreon link down below, see all that I do have to offer over there. But best of luck on this Week 17 slate, guys. I'll for sure be back next week covering the playoffs. I'll definitely have videos up throughout the playoffs and pretty much up to the Super Bowl. So still going to have NFL content on the channel. Still be making NBA videos as well. I have a ton of content coming out right now. So fun times to be playing DFS. Fun times to be a sports fan. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Best of luck Sunday. We will see you in the next one. Peace.